Welcome back to Mysteries in the Dark. I am your host, Luna Sparks, and I am here with my co-host, Omar Trekker. Today, we are going to forge ahead by continuing with the Alton Steel shutdown. We're tackling a story that's not just local news, but really a microcosm of larger industrial shifts happening across the country. Alton Steel, a name that's been synonymous with the Alton, Illinois community for decades, has officially shut its doors. And the way it happened, Omar, it feels less like a planned exit and more like a sudden, brutal shockwave.
Absolutely, Luna. It's truly heartbreaking. You know, when we talk about a plant shutting down, it's easy to focus on the economics, the why. But for the 253 workers in Alton, this isn't just about market forces. It's about their entire lives, their routines, their financial security, suddenly pulled out from under them. And the speed with which it happened, that's what's really gut-wrenching here.
It really is. And ironically, for some, the writing had been on the wall for a while, even if the final act was so sudden. According to television news reports, Charlie Linnemeyer, the former CEO who led Alton Steel for several years, said it himself. The shock isn't the shutdown, it's the lack of investment. He estimated they needed over $100 million to stay competitive. In an industry that's consolidating and modernizing, an aging facility just can't keep up.
$100 million. That's a staggering figure, especially for a regional plant. It just paints such a clear picture of the chasm between where they were and where they needed to be. Without that kind of capital injection, you're essentially running a race with one hand tied behind your back, against opponents with rocket boots. Customers drift, orders disappear, and that clock just keeps ticking down.
Right. But even with that long-term outlook, the immediate events leading up to the closure were incredibly dramatic and, frankly, quite suspicious for many. Imagine this. It's the middle of a snowstorm, and suddenly, a scrap and materials supplier shows up at the plant. They start hauling away crucial inventory. Steel blooms, raw materials, everything the mill needed to actually operate. United Steelworkers Local 3643 President Scott Hall believes that moment might have pushed the company into default with its lender.
In a snowstorm, no less, that just adds another layer of surrealism to an already bleak situation. It sounds almost like a scene from a movie, doesn't it? Just like that, the mill was crippled. And then, only 2 days later, the employees get the news they're out of a job. No gradual wind down, no long goodbye. Just done. Can you even imagine the cold shock of that? Showing up for work, or getting that call, and suddenly your 10, 15, 20 years of dedication just evaporate?
It's devastating. I mean, think about Chris, one of the employees, who put it so plainly. I've been down there for like 15 years now. I don't know where to go. It's rough. That's not just a soundbite, Omar. That's a family budget collapsing, a retirement plan evaporating, a whole routine shattered. For so many of these workers, that mill wasn't just a job. It was their identity, their community, their entire adult life.
Exactly. And it's not just the immediate paycheck. It's the benefits, the health care, the stability that allows you to plan for your kids' college or that vacation you've been saving for. All of that just vanishes. And what makes it even more frustrating for these workers is the question of legality. There are serious questions swirling around whether this shutdown even followed federal law.
You're referring to the WARN Act, right? The Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act. It typically requires companies of this size to give 60 days' notice before mass layoffs. The union leaders are pretty adamant that didn't happen here. The company cited special circumstances, but the union isn't buying it. And honestly, for workers who've given so much, to feel like their rights might have been overlooked, it just adds insult to injury.
It truly does. 60 days. That's 2 months. That's 2 months to start looking for a new job, to adjust your family's budget, to just mentally prepare for such a massive life change. To take that away, citing vague special circumstances, it feels profoundly disrespectful to the workforce. And while a small group of senior workers will have a 5-week partial shutdown, most are already cut loose. No work, no benefits, nothing but what the community can quickly pull together.
And that's the kicker, isn't it? The sheer speed and the lack of a safety net for so many. Now, Alton Steel itself has laid out its reasons for the closure: aging infrastructure, fierce market competition, and industry consolidation. Basically, what they're saying is that modern megamills are faster, cheaper, and more efficient, and smaller regional plants like theirs are simply getting squeezed out of existence.
It's the harsh reality of the global economy, I suppose. And it's a narrative we've heard before in many other industries, too. Automation, efficiency, scale. Those are the drivers now. But understanding the economics of it, the cold, hard numbers, doesn't soften the human cost. This mill wasn't just churning out special bar-quality steel, rounds, squares, bar and coil. It was producing mortgages, college tuition, Little League sponsorships, and local pride. It was the backbone of a community.
Absolutely. It's so much more than just a factory. It's about the fabric of a community. Generations of families likely worked there. It shaped the identity of Alton itself. But here's where the story, thankfully, starts to shift from heartbreak to hustle, from despair to a glimmer of hope. The response from local and federal leaders has been pretty swift and impressive.
That's what I love to see. When a community faces such a devastating blow, it's crucial to see that mobilization. Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski has stated that these displaced workers won't be left behind, and that's a powerful message of reassurance. It's a promise that the government, at least, is stepping up.
And it's not just government. Even nearby steel facilities are stepping up, which is fantastic news. The union president over at Granite City Steel, for example, has said they're actively looking to hire skilled workers. And let's be honest, there's a lot of incredible talent coming out of Alton right now, folks who know steel inside and out.
That's huge. That kind of solidarity within the industry, even among competitors, speaks volumes. It shows that there's a recognition of the value of these workers, their skills, and their experience. It means that hopefully, not all of those 253 workers will be starting from scratch in an entirely new field. There are existing roles where their expertise is directly applicable.
And it's not just talk. A major hiring fair is already scheduled at the local 3643 Union Hall. U.S. Steel will be there, and nearly 30 other employers. That's a rapid response, and it shows a real commitment to getting these folks back on their feet as quickly as possible. It's not a magic fix, but it's a vital first step.
30 employers, that's incredible. It's a clear signal that while one furnace may have gone dark, others are indeed firing up, and there's a real chance for many of these workers to transition. It brings a much-needed sense of urgency and, dare I say, optimism to a situation that initially felt so bleak.
Definitely. And this story, Omar, it really matters beyond just Alton. It's a potent illustration of what happens when legacy industry collides with modern economics. It's a stark reminder of how fast stability can disappear for working families, even for those who've dedicated decades to a company. It raises critical questions about whether workers, the people who actually built these companies, get protected when the numbers stop working out.
That's the core of it, isn't it? It forces us to ask, what's our social contract with the workforce in an ever-changing economic landscape? When a company can't compete, what's the responsibility to the people who've invested their lives into it? Alton Steel's shutdown isn't just a business story. It's a human story about resilience, community, and the ongoing fight for economic justice in a challenging world.
Precisely. Because in Alton this week, the steel may have stopped flowing. But the fight for these workers, for their future, that's just getting started. And that's a fight we'll be watching closely. Thank you for joining us on Mysteries in the Dark. We'll be back next time with another story that matters.
Thanks, Luna, and thanks to all our listeners for tuning in. Stay strong, Alton.